Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Today is Sunday, October 4th, and you are watching Tarot with Kuka. So remember, if you like what you hear, don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button. This week's exciting read of the Light Guides, Moon Phases, Tarot, Good Vibes, All Signs is brought to you by the Santa Muerte Book of the Dead Tarot Deck by Fabio Listrani, the Moonology Oracle Card Deck brought to you by Yasmin, Boland, the Healing Mantra Deck brought to you by Kahn, as well as the Ascended Masters Deck, which is now currently out of print. And so with that, let's get started. So remember, this week resonates with Sunday, October 4th through Saturday, October 10th. However, time is fluid, so if this lesson pertains to you either from the past or the future, which is, could be next week or, a couple years from now, this is just a general guidance brought to you by the universe. So our first card is the Six of Swords in reverse. And let me bring this close to you just so you can see it. And so this is actually a very exciting card because I've seen this card in the upright position. However, looking at this card in the reverse, it kind of seemed like it was the same message, but a little more personal, instead of going from something that was a little positive to something that was a little negative. So this was really interesting to have this card in the reverse position. So as usual, I'm going to read you the advice of the dead. And again, like I say, when a message comes from the dead, they are in kind of like an all-directional dimension. So whether the card is in reverse or upright, the message is still the same. So continue to row towards the voyage that you have decided to embark upon, bringing with you the weight of all the errors you have made, but that have enriched you and made you mature. I just love this message because even in the upright position, it's about going forward. And, in the traditional tarot deck, you have the swords that is weighing the boat down, but they're, so therefore they're carrying their past with them, but they're still moving ahead. So in this case, the way I read this is because of this boat being upside down and it's going forward, the weight that is kind of holding this boat down and creating just a little bit more friction in that calm water to kind of slow this journey down is kind of relieve your burden, dump the weight out. Yes, I'm not trying to discount the advice of the dead where it says carry the weight with you. What I take that as, lighten the load, but carry the lessons that came from it, not carrying it with you as a burden. Aha, do you see where I'm going with this? So look upon your past, and this is where that period of assessment comes in. Learn from it and move forward. Forgive yourself. If you need to forgive yourself for something, now is the perfect time before we move on to the new moon. Because we just left the full moon where forgiveness is about the release. You're still, because we still have light in the moon, in which we're going to what we call the third quarter moon, if you can see that here. With the third quarter moon, we're now kind of at the halfway point where the light is waning. So it's still a time of forgiveness, still a time to forgive others and forgive yourself. And if you do, and start with yourself, and once you do that, that burden in that boat becomes so much lighter. And if you can see what's inside this boat here, there are skeletons with the swords put in the back. Like the very negative message is that, it's carrying things of where, you stab people in the back, but I can't believe everybody is that negative. What I see is, like if we are carrying some guilt or, shame or embarrassment, those are our skeletons that are in the closet. you know, and I kind of look at those swords as being a way to kind of like, you pick them up, you know, like a skewer, and just toss your sword, which is your thoughts, the mind's thoughts, the mind's intellect, the mind, you know, kind of creating either an entrapment or freedom. Take those skeletons and chuck them. That's all you got to do. And this will make your journey easier. And as far as our person who is rowing this boat, the way I see him, you know, he literally looks like a soldier. So he looks like he's been through, I'm going to say it, he's been through hell, but he's made it through. We've all gone through something that we've considered our own personal hell. And so, like I say, it's time to let this go. Look what's ahead. It's calm waters. It's an open space. There's no obstacles. So what's holding you back from rowing forward? It's this weight. Unleash your burden. So I'm going to move on to our Sun card to see what we can do. Wow. So this card, I think is probably the first time I've ever drawn it, is the Temperance card. The Temperance card in reverse, and it's a Temperance card in reverse. So this card is literally all about balance. But let's see what we have about a message in the reverse position. So first of all, we're going to go with the advice of the dead. Evaluate your objectives well with moderation. Try to reach a balance that will enable you to make the unstable stable, or movement that is, or make movement which is now, you know, fixed. This is really interesting because, again, you know, if you look at it, the boat is, you know, because it's in reverse, it may not be balanced. And again, we may be carrying too much of a load. So the Temperance card really comes in as kind of that affirmation to unleash your burdens, balance yourself. And so the interesting thing about the Temperance being in the reverse position, again, it's not so negative. You know, it could possibly, like I say, represent that imbalance, but also it could be about going into oneself with the self-healing and the realignment. That is like pretty freaking exciting. You know, like if you have that inner voice that is asking you to grow and change, this is your opportunity to do it. And one of the things that will happen once you bring yourself into balance is you're unburdening yourself. You know, like I say, God, the creator of the universe, is always calling you into partnership. You know, the source, which is love, is always wanting to have that one-on-one with you. You know, and like I say, remember, like in this, I always think of Enoch, you know, where, you know, Enoch walked and talked with God all the time and loved God so much, and God in return loved him so much that Enoch didn't die. Enoch was simply taken by God. And it's now believed that Enoch was actually transformed into an archangel. Again, I just can't remember if it was Metatron or Sandalphon, but again, archangel, along with the prophet Elijah, are the only two humans that were ever transformed into archangels. And so what I'm kind of saying here is, you know, our soul's purpose, like everybody I think right now is kind of awakening and trying to figure out why are they here on earth. You know, and one of the simple common things with mankind is our soul's purpose is to align ourselves with God. You know, and once, you know, more and more what I hear is like individuals, you know, becoming woke. And it doesn't matter who you are, what you've done, or how you look. You know, God simply wants to commune with you. And your soul's purpose, and once you become aligned, you know, you're going to figure out where your strengths are on to serve either mankind, the world, or even the universe. So I'm getting too far deep in this. But again, it's about bringing balance to oneself. And so let's move forward to our moon action, which is something we do in our sleep. This is very interesting. So here, this is another card I think that is new to us. I don't think I've ever drawn this. Is the Star card. And, you know, and again, it's kind of like, it seems like this is backwards, you know, like the sun is a star, but yet we got the star card in the moon position. So let's go with the advice of the dead first before we delve into this card. I mean, this is like a very awesome, positive read. So the advice of the dead is, you are traveling the right path. Therefore, do not give up. Oh my God. I mean, how does that align with the Six of Swords? The Six of Swords is able to move forward in her life. But right now, it seems like things are a little slow or a little halted. But the Star card here is telling us to not give up. Continue. Once you have completely focused on your objective, to channel your energy towards this, remembering that the more you give, the more you will receive in exchange. So this is so awesome, because one of the other things that helps us in balancing ourselves is balancing that giving and receiving. Even if you're somebody who is a giver, when you sit there and you give and give and give, and you actually receive nothing in return, you become depleted, you know. And the joy of giving, and I've actually seen it, and where, there was this individual who volunteered every day, and this job is, this volunteer job, is physically demanding, and this person was just lacking so much joy that when this volunteer time, I'm walking in all smiles, because I'm giving back, and here I am working with somebody who just complained, but at the same time they loved what they were doing, but they were complaining about it. So it was really weird for me, and it dawned on me that they were giving so much that they were depleted, and the unfortunate thing is it actually made the body ill. So there are consequences to everything. So one of the things about balance is balancing our giving and receiving. Yes, as man, we are to give blessings and abundance to others, share our wealth, but at the same time we need to be receptive and receive, and know that we are worthy to receive the blessings and abundance that the universe gives us, or even another human being. There's that's the beauty of mankind. If we were all in balance with giving and receiving, this would be a perfect operating world, so one of the other things about this is, to bring us into that balance, we also need to reconcile. And again, it goes back again. Again, it goes back to that forgiveness. You forgive yourself and you forgive others. And again, that brings in the peace and the joy. And so, and another thing about the Star card that I want to bring up too, is if you look here, the star, I think, let me see if I can bring this a little closer. So the star here kind of looks like the Star of David, or even if you kind of put it into a third dimensional, it's almost like a hypercube, or Metatron's cube. So in the 3D thinking, this light is also radiating outwards towards you, and this star is so huge and prominent. And what is one of the things we do with the first star we see in the night? We wish upon it. So this is our chance where the universe is telling us, make a wish, I will provide. So very happy message about the week. Let's balance ourselves so that we can move forward, unleash our burdens, forgive yourself, forgive others, and you will soon see the magic of the universe working for you. So with that, let's go into our moon guidance, and I'm kind of marking here that we are at 14 minutes where we change. So I'm going to start making markers, people, so that you can jump ahead if you want to stop and then go on to the next message. So this week we actually have our moon going into the third quarter. So as you can see, the light is on the left hand side, and it's at the halfway point from the full moon to the new moon. And astrologically, this is considered kind of a hard angle, but what we have here is we have a third quarter moon on Saturday, October 10th, which is in Cancer. So with the third quarter moon, it says here adjustments are required. So again, you've come out of your full moon and you're headed towards the new moon, which is about your wishes. But let's look back upon what you wished for on the last new moon. You know, are your plans happening? Do they need tweaking? What do you need to hone in on to make things work for you? And so if you feel that things aren't working out for you, you know, you have to trust that the universe heard you and you will receive your wishes in the divine timing. Also, one thing that is very possible with the moon headed towards the new moon here is at this point your energy starts to deplete. You know, it's like, I know, and I feel it, because I actually, you know, at this point in time I could sleep all day and night if I could. So you know, again, with this frustration of you feeling things not happening for you, you're stuck, you know, assess where you've come from. Assess how much you know, how far you have to go. What can you do to make things happen? You know, do you need to balance yourself? So also another thing to look at is that in this particular day, the third quarter moon will be in Cancer, and this is a sign that loves the moon. They work well together. This is also a very good time to work on your doubts and fears. The Cancer in the moon is here to support you with that. And, you know, if you're insecure, you know, with yourself or, you know, about a situation, you know, always remember that everything starts with you. Your love begins with you. So this is a time, you know, Cancer, as you know, loves to be at home, family oriented. So maybe this is a good time again to start healing with your family if you have some issues. The moon has been speaking about this lately. You know, I've also been taking this as a personal message. You know, and like I say, if this resonates with you, maybe one of the burdens you do need to release is the tension with your family. You know, also assess your relationships. Are you currently in a toxic relationship? You know, if the relationship is toxic, you know, you can't heal the person. The person has to heal themselves. You know, and you can't wait for that to happen if it's taking from you. So again, assess where you are in this toxic relationship. If it's time for you to walk away, the universe is fully supportive and will protect you and make sure you have all your needs met. So, you know, and again, right now it's a huge trust in the universe, you know, because things don't seem so good. But, you know, it seems like the message here is, you know, things are going to be great in the future. So with that, you know, I always draw that card that pertains to a guidance with the moon. Wow. So expect powerful change in this a new moon eclipse, and nothing is more powerful of an energy of a new moon in a new moon eclipse. So expect powerful change. So again, you know, if you're willing to take that first step, the universe is just going to open doors. I mean, it's like a boom, wide open. You know, it's like this force, you know, where, you know, the other side, it seemed like it was hard to open, and it's just like once you take that step, the opposite force is now whoosh, pushing those doors wide open for you. And so the new moon in eclipse is basically telling you can achieve your dreams and the desired outcome. I mean, how much more positive can this get than in the universe telling you yes, it will happen. So I just kind of want to read the 2 attunements to the moon from the guidebooks in the Moonology. So this is very interesting because the attunement for the third quarter moon is I am re-evaluating a situation. And the attunement for the new moon eclipse is never mind the past. Life evolves every single day. Wow. How does that really put together the pieces? of what the universe is trying to tell you. Go forward. And so with that, we're going to move on to our next card, which is our positive vibes and our light guides. I love the message that we are receiving. Okay, so the first, actually what was weird was I usually draw just one card, but 2 cards jumped out. And so I went with it. If the universe wants to give 2 positive vibes, that is like twice the positive energy that's going out. So the first card is about balancing the brain. And I'm going to turn this over. And it's, I can be and do all at once. And you know what's interesting here is, you know, I see the 3 circles and kind of like, you know, the sun is like the encompassing because it's so huge. I see the 3 circles kind of representing the planets, Mercury, Venus, and then Earth. And so, you know, again, it's kind of about, you know, if we balance our brain, and all of us get our brains balanced, we are in more of a connection. So, I'm going to read from the guidebook, which is page 9, and also I read from the guidebook on the Yasmin Boland, which was like pages 94. So I like to cite my sources. So when balancing the brain, I can be and do all at once. When the brain is balanced, you are no longer bouncing back and forth between being and doing. You allow each action to be expressed from a space of mindfulness, peace, and ease. In a balanced brain, each inner battle has been won, which makes it easier to navigate around those minds are still entrenched in conflict. From this space, you are able to do all that needs to be done while operating from your soul's natural state of being. And again, you know, balancing the brain, we are just talking about how, you know, the balance, you know, if we balance things out, how much peace we would have, in which that also is about alleviating that load. So this mantra is ideal for reducing stress at work, being a more mindful parent, and increasing levels of accountability. Wow. So let's move on to, I'm just kind of like, the synergy here with the universe is just kind of, it's giving me goosebumps. So we're rewriting the subconscious. So again, you know, also, you know, when we were born, you know, there were things, you know, in the subconscious, you know, maybe we are carrying things, painful lessons, or even a painful past from our past lives, that we are born with. That, you know, those are our first thoughts. You know, that's the first maps we have as we are being born. But then as, you know, we grow through life, you know, even in our toddler years, our parents, you know, who are kind of like our first influence, we're being taught things, you know, and so we respond. And each new lesson, you know, we kind of bury. And sometimes, you know, the subconscious, we need to resurface things in order to heal. And so part of our healing may be coming into terms with what is buried in our subconscious. So the more I embrace feeling good, the less often I will feel bad. And it kind of sounds like at face value, it's like, duh, yeah, the more I feel good, the less, you know, but again, that's easier said than done. And so, you know, you have to, it begins with saying, you know, like sometimes, you know, like what began with me as far as truly feeling, because, you know, I learned to change my negative words, you know, or each negative thought I had, I turned it into a positive, you know, because I try to speak positively, because I actually realized how powerful my negative words are. And I don't ever want to go back to that, where I speak with a vile tongue. And so, but I wasn't feeling what I was saying. So one simple lesson that began with me was when I'd walk down the street, or even walking at work, you know, I would smile at somebody, whether I like them or not, or even if I was good friends or they were a complete stranger, you look and you exchange that smile. Even if they don't smile back, don't take it personal, but you planted a small seed. And eventually, even if you're having that horrible day and you still smile, you're planting that seed within yourself, and that good feeling grows. So yes, there is truth to this. And also, I do see here Metatron's cube. So from page 45 on the guidebook, when the subconscious is rewritten, you are able to feel good on a regular basis regardless of the way life unfolds. Yellow. In rewriting the subconscious, you reverse the gravitational pull of conditioning to become more familiar with the virtues of goodness. As goodness becomes more known, the opposite vibration of negativity can become a less frequent visitor in your reality. That was just kind of what I was saying, but Matt Kahn actually puts it more beautiful. So I do love his words, and there's links to his videos, and I do recommend watching. It's also something if you have trouble sleeping. I'm not saying out of boredom he puts you to sleep, but his voice has such a resonance that it does relax you. And so even if you fall asleep to in the middle of his talk, you're still downloading the information he's sending. So this mantra is ideal for relieving guilt, releasing shame, and finding joy in new beginnings. Wow. I mean, I don't know. It's like every single deck is saying the same thing here. So this is where I call God's 2x4. Release your shame and guilt, and forgive yourself, and then you'll find how easy it is to forgive others. So as usual, I always provide a light guide who wants to work with us. And so let's see who the Ascended Master is that wants to work with us this week. So we have Saint Francis of Assisi. Oh my gosh. I know. So for those of you who kind of have an issue with religion, the one thing I'm going to point out about the institution of religion, whether it is Catholicism, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Buddhism, Hindu, there has been someone from each religion that has had such a close relationship with God, with the universe, with the Creator, with love, that they have become ascended masters. And you may have your blame on the Catholic Church with certain issues, and like I say, that is the Catholicism does act in the name of God, and when atrocious acts are done in the name of God, God will justly deal with it. So it's kind of like I'll let God handle whatever it is that the Catholic Church has to reconcile. So I have no ill feeling, because there have been saints that have come out of this church, and Saint Francis is one of them. So with Saint Francis, what the message comes from with this cards is you already know what to do. And I think part of that is forgiving yourself and forgiving others. Your feelings are accurate. You're receiving divine guidance through feelings and intuition. And this is possibly the time, and like I say, where we're going into the new moon from the full moon, is to walk in faith. And that's exactly what St. Francis based his life. He left a life of rich and wealth, and to work with the sick and the poor, in which he developed a gift to communicate with animals. So he will help you and guide you with having you come into understanding where, maybe you haven't come out of the spiritual closet yet, or maybe you have come out and you've had harsh judgments. Saint Francis will help you in healing your heart, is what I'm kind of getting from this, ultimately. And so there may be issues that you're dealing with on, trying to reconcile, about the reactions you received when you told your family that you were on a different level of spiritual guidance. So St. Francis, the message I'm getting here, and this is not from the guidebook, is that St. Francis is willing to help you. And when I mean you, this is your action to do, is St. Francis is willing to help you heal your heart. What I have been, it's kind of funny because I'm actually going to end the video on this note, is one of the things that I have been inquiring about is I've heard that we all have the ability to heal ourselves on any level. It's just that we as humans have not become aware of it. And the funny thing is, when you ask the universe how or what, you do get an answer. And so one of the answer that not one of the, but it was the answer on several different occasions, the same answer was, we actually have the ability to talk to our bodies on a cellular level, even a molecular level, to communicate the works to heal. And I'm probably going to expand on that because like I've literally have been making the connections with the past classes I took with biochemistry and you know, chemistry, physics. Our cells do communicate. You know, back when I was in school, we thought that a cell could only talk to its next door neighbors. But throughout the years, what we have learned is like a liver cell can talk all the way down to a toe cell. So there's absolute communication going on inside. And you know, we already do communicate with our bodies. When we want to move our left hand, we do it. When we want to breathe, we do it. So we have the ability to talk to ourselves, and so I'm trying to figure out the language on how to talk to the inner body to maybe start the healing process. But St. Francis is here to heal, to help you heal your heart and your pain. So with that, my lovely souls, I'm sorry this was so long, but this was just so exciting because it connected to the bonus read that was supposed to go on my Instagram. It seems to kind of tie in together with that universal message about forgiving and forgiving yourself, balance, and receiving. So with that, I send you love, light, and many, many blessings. Take care.